out of the red corner, an undefeated mixed martial artist holding a perfect professional record.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy at Crossover MMA. This will be my UFC 306 recap. I'm going to go through the entire card. I got to be honest, I didn't do very well in this card. I went 4-6. Timestamps will be in the description. Let's get right into it. First fight on the card, we got Raul Rosas versus Aoriqileng. So in this fight, I think Raul Rosas came out and he showed much more patience than he typically shows in the first round of his fights. Ultimately, he ended up getting the takedowns that he needed, and he just went for control instead of going for the finish, because typically in his fights, he's very hungry to try and get the finish early. In my opinion, he shows some growth and some patience, and I think the future is still very bright for him, and he's got a lot of room to grow. We got to remember this guy is still 19 years old. But with that being said, I mean, he won a 30-27 unanimous decision. He gets the takedown in each of the rounds, controls Aoriqileng, and that pretty much sums up the fight. Next fight, we have Edgar Chairez versus Joshua Van. First off, this was a phenomenal fight, guys. An absolute war. If you want to fight to go back and watch, this is one of them. Chairez came out in round one and was having some success with the calf kicks. He dropped Joshua Van with a right hand. Then in round two, Van got a little bit more forward on the pressure and he started throwing more combinations. And then he ended up rocking Chairez with a right hand. And then Van starts just unloading on Chairez with body shots. And you could tell that the body shots were really doing damage on Chairez. But Chairez found a way to survive. Then Chairez rocked Van with a spinning back fist. And both these guys were just going back and forth. But round two was a Joshua Van round. And Edgar Chairez won round one. So it's 1-1 going into the third. Start of round three, both guys come out there landing. Joshua Van, in my opinion, is getting slightly better in the exchanges. Van then lands a takedown and controls Chairez, lands some ground and pound, and honestly, that was the difference in the round, and that ultimately got him the 29-28 decision win. Next fight, we have Yazmin Jauregui versus Ketlen Souza. So in this fight, they come out early. Yazmin Jauregui is having some early success, mixing up her strikes, inside leg kicks, outside leg kicks, jabs. And then all of a sudden, there were two growing strikes by both of them. I think Souza was first, but shortly after, like literally right after the second one landed, Ketlen Souza does her best Alex Pereira impression and drops Yazmin Jauregui with a beautiful left hook, jumps on her back, gets the rear naked choke, and puts Yazmin Jauregui to sleep. Next fight, we have Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is another phenomenal fight, guys. Phenomenal fight. Coming out, you could pretty much tell that Manuel Torres was having some trouble with the range, seeing as though Bahamondes had a height and a reach advantage. Torres was lunging, but landing some good shots early, putting a little bit of pressure on Ignacio Bahamondes. And then at this point, like after he weathered a little bit of the storm, Bahamondes starts touching Torres a little bit. But when Torres goes to counter, he's a little too far away. He's not quite in range. And you just could tell just by watching that Torres was getting a little anxious and he really wanted to close the distance. And then he just starts lunging a little bit and overextending that Baha. And then right on cue, Torres lunges in with a big left overhand from southpaw. Bahamondes pulled back and counters with a huge right hand, dropping Torres. It swarms Torres with some ground and pound looking for the finish, but Torres manages to survive. Then they stand back up and the same exact thing happens. Torres comes lunging in with a straight left out of southpaw. Bahamondes pulls back and just starches him with a beautiful pull right hand counter, swarms him for a ground and pound TKO, and that'll do it. Next fight, we have Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. So in this fight, Aldana's coming out. She's very forward on the pressure. Dumont is constantly on the back foot, but in my opinion, like she's landing the crisper strikes, the better strikes. Looks like she has a little bit of a speed advantage over Aldana. In this fight, she showed a lot of growth in her stand-up. She's typically just running, trying to get in the clinch and stay in the clinch. But in this fight, like she literally just kept this on the feet, stayed at range, and showed some real improvement in her stand-up. Aldana was like had a little success on the feet, but in my opinion, she literally was just chasing Norma Dumont around the octagon. Dumont was countering very well and landing very accurately. And then on top of it, another issue I thought Aldana was having, she wasn't cutting off Dumont in the octagon. She literally was just following her around, and Dumont was just pulling her right into her strikes. They come together, and then there's this headbutt, and it opens up a huge cut on Aldana's forehead, and instantly the blood just starts flowing into her face and into her eyes. The cut is literally one of the worst cuts you'll probably ever see. Each strike after that pretty much just opens the cut up more, and more blood is just pouring all over the place and all over Aldana's face. At this point, Aldana's trying to fight, but she can't really see all that well. And at this point, Norma Dumont really just cruises to a unanimous decision, 30-27. Next fight, we have Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osbourne. So in this fight, guys, Ode comes out right away, landing, and you can see straight away that he has a speed advantage with the hands on the feet. Ode drops Rodriguez with a big right hook, and he swarms Rodriguez, and then he locks in a triangle, but Rodriguez manages to survive and ends up getting out. So it's a clear 10-9 round one for Ode Osbourne. Round two comes. Rodriguez shoots a takedown on Ode, and Ode Osbourne jumps a guillotine. Rodriguez then reverses the position, gets the back, and just starts raining down elbows. At this point, Ode is trying to get out of the position some kind of way. But then Rodriguez starts hunting for a submission for the rest of the round, trying to get a rear naked choke, but Ode Osbourne manages to survive the round. So it's 10-9 Rodriguez. So it's 1-1 going into the third. Round three, Ode comes out, landing some jabs. Both guys exchange a big shot. It's a back and forth round, but I think Ode Osbourne landed just a little more. Rodriguez ended up on top towards the end of the round, throwing a little bit of ground and pound. It's a very close round, very close fight. I gave this round to Ode Osbourne, but Ronaldo Rodriguez wins a split decision. It was a very close fight, very competitive. I can see how the fight can go either way. It was a very close fight, and both guys had success. Next fight, we have Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics. This is another phenomenal fight. This is actually one fight of the night. So starting, you can see very clearly what each guy's plan is. Zellhuber is trying to use his jab, stay at range, keep Ribovics on the end of his punches. Ribovics is more so like lunging in, throwing combinations, looking to do big damage. It's a tit for tat round one, very close. Both guys land a lot of strikes, but I gave it to Zellhuber. Then round two, Zellhuber starts the round fast, giving Ribovics some issues with that 8-inch reach advantage he has. It's another tit for tat round. Both guys are exchanging, landing. Every time one guy lands, the other guy counters, and it's just a beautiful display of MMA. It's another very close round. It can go either way, but I also gave this round to Daniel Zellhuber. Both guys come out for round three, and they both just turn up the pace in round three. A big elbow drops Ribovics early in the round by Daniel Zellhuber. Ribovics gets back to his feet and right back to throwing big shots. Like you wouldn't even know he just got dropped. Ribovics then lands a huge right hand and hurts Zellhuber badly. And Zellhuber's on very wobbly legs, and Ribovics is pretty much going for the finish. This is literally unloading so many unanswered shots, and Zellhuber is just eating them, and he's just up against the octagon, just trying to bob and weave, and he's trying to get away from Ribovics, but he's literally not throwing anything back. But then Zellhuber starts to throw something back, and he ends up landing, and then they're going back and forth, but you can tell that Zellhuber is literally on so shaky legs, and the fight is just awesome. In my opinion, I gave round three to Ribovics 10-9, but Esteban Ribovics gets the decision 29-28. It's a phenomenal fight. I would definitely highly suggest you bookmark that fight and go back and watch it. It's a phenomenal fight. Next fight, we have the feature fight between Brian Ortega and Diego Lopes. So in this fight, in the first round, Diego Lopes comes out and lands a huge right overhand. And honestly, it knocks out Brian Ortega. And then right after that, it's a combination. He lands a left hook. and the left hook actually wakes up Brian Ortega. It's a crazy combination. Then Lopes drops Ortega again and gets on top, lands some good ground and pound, going for the finish. Lopes really came out and set the tone from the fight early, and that's the end of round 1. Round 2, Lopes comes out, lands another heavy combination. It's very clear that Lopes has a speed and a power advantage. The low kicks by Lopes are also working very well, and you just get the sense that Ortega's pretty much just hanging on, and it's another 10-9 round for Diego Lopes. Round 3, it's a tit-for-tat round. Lopes is still landing the heavier strikes, in my opinion. Lopes then stuns Ortega again and drops him again, and that's pretty much just the round. It's just tit-for-tat, and then Diego Lopes just landed some heavy strikes. So my opinion, Diego Lopes cleared 10-9, and he wins by 30-27, unanimous decision. Then we have the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso 3. So in this fight, Valentina opens up on the feet, and she's countering Grasso very well. She clips her a few times on the feet, looking very sharp, looking like vintage Valentina Shevchenko. She then lands a takedown, and this proves to be a reoccurring theme in the fight. Valentina gets to every round. She controls Alexa Grasso, and essentially Alexa Grasso just didn't really have any urgency to get back to her feet. Valentina lands enough ground and pound to keep the position in each round. And if your opponent can't stop it, why do something different? Valentina, in my opinion, fought a very smart fight, and she earned the title. She ultimately got a 50-45 unanimous decision over Alexa Grasso. I think Valentina Shevchenko had a great game plan round after round. Strike a little bit, touch a little bit, get the takedown, control Alexa Grasso, land a little bit of ground and pound, and just control her for the rest of the round. So moving up, we had a main event, Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. So in this fight, it looks a lot like the co-main event. Merab comes out, he's circling a little bit. Merab comes out, circling, then slowly starts to put a little pressure on O'Malley. Merab doesn't throw many strikes, just to try and force out strikes from O'Malley and allow O'Malley to get comfortable on the feet before he shoots the takedown. Merab then shoots with 2 minutes left in the round, gets the takedown, controls O'Malley up against the cage, lands some knees and some ground and pound. Merab lands a big right hand counter, then gets another takedown. Merab jumps guillotine and then ends up on top of O'Malley, and that's the end of the round. So round 1's a 10-9 for Merab. Round 2 starts, and it's basically a repeat of round 1. Merab is circling, keeping O'Malley at range, allowing him to get comfortable on the feet. Merab then shoots, gets the takedown, easier than he did in the first round. Start landing some ground and pound and just controlling O'Malley. And it's another 10-9 round for round 3. Comes out and basically just runs O'Malley right into the cage, gets another takedown. Merab is really wearing O'Malley down at this point, but O'Malley manages to get back to his feet. Merab is shooting after O'Malley throws his strikes, and it's working beautifully. It's the best round, in my opinion, for O'Malley, but it's just not enough to really do enough damage. But I ultimately gave this round to O'Malley, so I have it 2-1 for Merab after 3. Round 4 starts, Merab lands another takedown, controls O'Malley while landing some light strikes for majority of the round, and that basically is round 4. And it's another 10-9 from. So at this point, Merab just has to survive round 5 and he'll win a decision. So we go to round 5. I've been circling because he he's winning the fight. He then lands a takedown, controls O'Malley up against the cage, landing some knees. O'Malley gets back to his feet, but doesn't land enough strikes to really do much. But then towards the tail end of round 5, O'Malley lands a front kick to the body, and it hurts Merab. But O'Malley just didn't have enough gas left in the tank to really jump on Merab and really put a pace on him. and try and like use that to his advantage. And he just couldn't get the finish, and that's exactly what he needed. You can give this round to O'Malley. I thought Merab won the round, but ultimately Merab wins the unanimous decision, 49-46. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if, you know, which fight you enjoyed, how your picks were on the card. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time.